Go Retroid have now crafted 3 great devices in a row: the Retroid Pocket 5, the Retroid Pocket Flip 2, and now the Retroid Pocket Classic. This is a vertical Android handheld that's perfect for your average retro gamer. There's no denying they're on a roll, and I feel as if they now have a portfolio of products that will intrigue retro gamers looking for a retro handheld specific to their needs. The Pocket Classic is the cheapest device that they have released this year, starting at $119. It's not cheap, but it's certainly not expensive, and I want to share with you my opinions on this lovely, friendly device that has seemed to have become my go-to travel handheld for the day. So let's jump into the review. The unit I have is the Classic 6 variant, the only variant with a 6 Sega-like button layout. This is the only difference here and is a great addition to their selection for those that really want this layout instead. The choice is pretty much yours here, and I think other manufacturers are going to do more of this in the future. These buttons are sturdy, have a medium length of travel, and are not loud in any way. The press is soft and not clicky at all. That said, the D-pad is the opposite, featuring a clicky noise and reminds me a lot of the PS Vita D-pad. It's small, yet flexible and reactive to fast presses, should those of you that like action and fighting games. As you notice, there's no analog stick, which certainly limits what we can do with this, but I'll get onto that further in this review. Between the buttons, you'll find your start button, which is colored slightly different to the select button, alongside the menu button up top, which opens up your emulator settings. Above that, a 3.92-inch AMOLED display with a resolution of 1240 by 1080. It's beautiful, and although it's not perfectly square, it's been an absolute pleasure to play on. AMOLED displays are the new in for Go Retroid, and I am all for it as they make retro games pop and easily visible outside. My only small negative with the display is that it has a large border, which makes it look a little outdated in my opinion. Around the edges you will find a headphone jack, and I have no idea why they've put it up the top here. I get fed up with retro handhelds having it at the top because when I use it, it just has to come around the bottom and back up to my headphones. So you're losing like, I don't know, half a foot of length on the wire anyway just to get it around the handheld back to where it would be normally if there was a socket at the bottom. You'll find a micro SD card slot, your on and off button, volume buttons, and a USB-C port for charging. This does not have any video out. The back of the device features 4 shoulder buttons, which are slimline to keep in line with the back's Game Boy Color curved aesthetics, making it comfortable to use on a daily basis. You'll also find some ventilation too. In terms of specs, you'll find a G1 Gen 2 8-core Cairo CPU, 4 to 6 gigabytes of RAM, a 4-inch, or shall I say 3.92-inch AMOLED display, up to 120 gigabytes of internal storage, and 5,000 milliamps of battery, using Android 13. With all of that wrapped into a handheld, it's not going to be small, and this is a device that can just about fit in your pocket. It's the same size as a typical smartphone, but far thicker, wider, and slightly heavier, so it's certainly one that will give you funny looks if you do choose to have it in your pocket. For me, this is best suited in a travel sling or a backpack. When I travel, I tend to use a travel sling when I'm near my hotel or out for a single day, and this is where I found it flourished for me on my travels. And that's because it's somewhat deceivingly big and weighty, and that's not a problem at all, but I just want newcomers to be aware of this because I know it's called the Retro Pocket when I do believe that's a little bit misleading in a sense, because this is a thick, heavy device that I don't believe people will use as a pocket portable device as often as they should. I think it is a kind of a sling or a backpack handheld, in my opinion. That's how I've been using it. At its core, the Retroid Pocket Classic uses Android 13 as its operating system, which is great. It allows for a multitude of customizations and opens up the opportunity for gamers to use Android apps and cloud streaming. That said, the screen certainly restricts what is possible on here, especially Android games and cloud streaming. So this is a device designed specifically for retro games rather than its horizontal older brothers. I found myself only using this for retro games. Cloud streaming and other Android apps just don't fit well and just aren't comfortable to play on this screen and this type of game without an analog stick. So for those of you wanting to implement that or that gaming experience, I would advise against it. Over the past couple of years, Go Retroid has excelled in crafting a fluid, easy to understand user experience from the get-go, introducing users to a setup guide that installs all of the popular emulators for you with the press of a button. Once done, you are greeted with the launcher and front end that is nostalgic and organizes all of your ROMs carefully into an easy to consume experience. One of my favorite features is the ability to download missing box art from the menu. Go Retroid set up a simple way of sourcing images from Google to then download and automatically assign to that ROM. This stops your library from looking like it has a bunch of missing box art. I say this because some of Go Retroid's rivals such as Anbernic and Ayaneo still have yet to implement this feature fluidly. Ayaneo did get there, but it came with a bunch of bugs. So having a process that allows you to press a button maybe 3 or 4 times to download box art from the internet is just a really fun and lovely thing to do for the audience and the community that are just too lazy to download box art. There's a lot that this can emulate due to its internals, but there's a lot you wouldn't want to emulate on here, again due to the screen size and the lack of the analog stick. For example, Nintendo 64 games can be emulated on here, but the missing analog stick makes it an annoying experience. The same goes for Sega Dreamcast games, which is slightly annoying as it's one of my favorite consoles ever. So it has the power to do those games and emulate those consoles, but not the actual buttons and the screen dimensions you want to have a comfortable gaming experience with those consoles. However, the rest of the older consoles in a vertical format work perfectly. Consoles such as Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Sega Game Gear, Mega Drive, PlayStation 1, Neo Geo Pocket, Atari, arcade games, NES, PC Engine, SNES, and WonderSwan all work perfectly as they should and are a pleasure to use on a display and design like this. So if those are the consoles you care most about and don't want to explore anything more than that, then this is a handheld that will take you as far as you need to go without the need to buy another vertical handheld without sticks again. And this is what I believe is Go Retroid's intention with this device. They want to create the best vertical Android device without an analog stick on the market for the most affordable price. And I believe they are doing that. There's nothing that really comes close to this in terms of performance, build quality, and with the fluid operating system and user experience that they've built into this very nostalgic device that I am falling in love with. Performance across those devices, as mentioned, are flawless and can be pushed to a multitude of upscaled native resolutions and comes with the ability to map all the additional buttons to your pleasure, including fast forward. The additional consoles that are available to emulate will be there every single day to tease you, and you'll sometimes dabble on them but will be quickly welcomed with an uncomfortable experience. So anyone trying to purchase this for PlayStation 2, GameCube, Dreamcast, or PSP emulation should have known that it was going to be an issue before they have pre-ordered it. I've reviewed hundreds of devices on this channel, and this is the first time over the last couple of years that I have been a little bit disheartened by the actual charging process and what it does to the back of the device here. It gets really, really hot. So hot that I didn't feel comfortable leaving it in my house while charging. I don't know, this seems to be a normal thing. I've read a lot of reviews and watched a lot of videos. Some people have mentioned it, but for me, it's too hot. It's too hot to feel comfortable having around children. Not that it's not gonna burn you. It's just at such a high temperature where you go, maybe I shouldn't have that charging on a cardboard box or on carpet or in my house while I'm not about. It's a little bit discerning, and I don't think it's an issue from a health and safety wise or perspective, sorry. I just think as a normal consumer, I haven't felt any other handheld get that hot while charging over the last couple of years. So I just want to mention that. So overall, I believe this is a device that excels in a portion of consoles designed explicitly for a vertical layout with a D-pad, up to 6 action buttons and 2 shoulder buttons. That is where it will blow you away, alongside the beautiful and seamless user experience that Go Retroid have perfected over the last year or so. It's a magical device, and if you do end up snagging one, you'll likely not need to upgrade it for many years if you're specifically using it for the mentioned consoles above. However, there is no denying that this is missing an analog stick to push it to its full potential alongside a restrictive display size. If you can push those negatives aside and focus on the older consoles up to PlayStation 1 and that's all you want, then this is one of the best vertical handhelds on the market in an Android OS that will do that, and very, very well in a form factor that is well built and is incredibly nostalgic. Go Retroid have done it again with this device. I love it. I do believe it needed an analog stick to perfect it, but hey, this is where we are. They want you to upgrade to their horizontal handhelds, their more expensive handhelds, and I think that's just the marketing strategy that they were using. But then again, this is still a great device that I think many of you will enjoy. So there you have it, our full review. If you want to see our written review, go to our website, and I hope to see you in the next video if you subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.